Est-ce que vous m'entendez en ligne?
Sound is muted.
It's not working. Let me try this. Est-ce que vous m'entendez maintenant? No? See, I can't. I know I could see me too.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. I told you technology is not for me, right? Doesn't matter, I still make money. Okay, donc. Alors, hi everybody, hope you're all doing great. Let me just get that camera properly put in. There you go. Okay, so we're going to be discussing customer service. So let me ask you guys something. Why do people deal with you?
They need our service.
They need your services, they don't need your services. There's tons of people that provide service.
They like us.
Trust
Because
you.
they like you,
They trust
they
you.
may like you a little bit. Eventually, after some time, they like you a little bit less.
They trust you.
They trust you. Yeah. How do you earn trust?
You offer good service.
Let me ask you guys something. If you go to a store, okay, you go into a store, you want to buy something, go into a store, and then you have crappy service. You're going for, you want to go buy a nice watch, but you have a crappy service. Would you still buy the watch?
Depends if it was the only watch.
Okay, so give me some more. Let's talk about this. So yeah, that's the watch you wanted to buy. Okay, you go into a store and it's not a good service. Would you still buy the watch?
If I wanted it, yes.
Okay, you would, right?
Yeah.
Would you recommend that store again?
No.
So what did they do? Did they sell a watch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They made money on that watch?
Yeah.
Yeah, will they ever make money on another watch? Chances are very, very slim, unless it's the only place that sells that watch, correct? So customer service is the same thing. People will refer you, people will deal with you based on your quality of service. The higher your quality of service, the more clients you're gonna have. The lower your quality of service, less clients you have. So it's very, very, very difficult to get a client. And it's very easy to lose a client. The way to lose a client, the fastest way to lose a client is give them crappy service. You're gonna lose them. Okay. You noticed not too long ago, I think yesterday, Kareem sent you guys a survey, 3-minute survey.
Today.
Yeah, today?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Why do we ask you that stuff? By the way, that's a whole company that takes care of all your answers to give us where the problems in the company are, what we need to improve, and how we need to improve. Why do we do that? We do that every 3 years roughly. Why do we do that?
For the service.
Because I want to keep you. Well, not all of you. That's a different that's a different
I
conversation.
didn't say it was so like.
No, whatever. Yeah, well, yes, I want to keep you correct, but there's something more than that.
Want to improve your service.
What's that?
Want to improve your service, what you're offering.
You know, we want to know what you think. And we want to know not only what you think, but what you need or what you think you need. Our job is to provide you what we think you need.
As a service, you know,
It's connected to one thing.
yeah.
Correct. So it's the same thing for you. When you're talking with a seller or a buyer, you have to anticipate his needs. And by anticipating his needs, you're going to be able to provide him a better quality service. So what is a better quality service? How do you quantify a service? How do you quantify a service? Please. Tina? Tina? Somebody? Hello? Can you get me a mug, please? Empty. Empty mug. Empty mug, yeah. So, tell me, how do you quantify a good service? How do you quantify a service? How do you say, you know what, this is really good service?
If the client is satisfied, you gotta ask, you gotta know.
How do you know Thank you, Scott.
You'll know by the response you get from the client if they never talk to you again or never want to hear from you.
You're in the middle of a transaction. You're in the middle of it. You're not expecting them to come back to you, or you're not looking at future. We're looking at current. How do you quantify quality of your service? How do you say, okay, I just gave him exactly what he wanted, or she wanted? How do you do
Je suis
that?
à l'écoute.
Well, people usually express if they're satisfied.
A lot of times they don't say it.
Playing the client's needs first.
How do you quantify his investment? You're on the right track. Come on, ideas online? Any ideas?
You ask like more specific questions about.
It's all interrelated, yeah.
With
So let me give you the very easiest way to quantify your service. You understand what anticipation means? You got to create an anticipation. How do you create anticipation? Let me give you an example. Anybody here ever been to Disney World? Yeah, you've been? How long ago?
Last time, 2019.
2019? Okay. If you go to Disney and you're standing in the line, at one point it's going to tell you how much time from that line. So let's say 62 minutes. First thing we do is what? When it's written 62 minutes, what is the first reaction we do? That'd be me. I'll ask for that.
I'll come back later.
I'm not coming back here. Forget it. I'm going back home. I just spent $1,000 for no reason. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at your time, right? And say, okay, it's 1:15, 1:20, great. I'll be on that ride at 2:50. And so you start doing whatever you're gonna do. You play with your phone, you talk with the kids, you have a conversation. And all of a sudden you're at the ride. And it didn't take 62 minutes, it took maybe 37 minutes. First thing is, man, time passed fast. Look, oh my God, what was that? By the way, they do it on purpose. Do you guys know that? You don't know that, right? I'm teaching you something. That's called anticipation. You're anticipating that it's going to take 62 minutes. And it took 43 minutes. Right now, at that point, are you happy? Yes. So what did they do? They gave you an expectation and then they passed it. I showed it to you in time. It's the same thing with a client. So if you are, let's say you are with a client and you're negotiating the price and he would be happy selling at 400,000. You know he's happy at 400,000 and you're able to get him 405. Is he happy?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If he's expecting to see you at 6 p.m. and you arrive at 5:45, and even if you're waiting outside, is he happy to see you?
Yes.
Is he happier than if you arrive at 6:05? He won't be happier at 6:05. But at 5:45, he'll be happy to see that. Is he happy when he sees you smile? Right? When you're confident. So you have to understand what is expectations. And your job, you're not looking to, if the expectation is here, you don't need to be all the way here to be happy. If you're just on top of it, you're good. So if he expects, for example, 400,000 and you're able to get 410, that's great. But you don't need to get 500,000, which makes no sense at that point, because there's no way for you to be able to do that. Even if you are the best negotiator on the face of the earth, you won't be able to do that. Because a price is a price, a value is a value, a house is a house. House is not much different from a car, from a coffee. It's not much different. If you go to Starbucks and the coffee is $5 and you're paying 15, are you going to be happy? If you're paying $4.50, that's a better price. You're not expecting to pay $1. But you know what? If they say to you refill is free, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that, but in the States they do that. So when I work there, I always get my free refill. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so
Can I challenge you on that?
yeah, please.
So let's say you take a listing,
Uh-huh.
and he wants to list it at 400, and you're telling him at the appointment, look, it's not worth more than 380.
Mhm.
but I'm willing to try it at your price for 2 weeks. Because, right now we're adjusting, right?
Correct?
So how do you make him satisfied when you bring him an offer at 385? Will he be satisfied?
Very, very good question. Very good question. So let me ask you this, Bianca. Did you list the property?
If it were 5 or
At that point
10%,
where we
yes,
are?
I would.
You already
Yes.
listed that property. Did he get 72 visits?
No.
No. So he got 1, 2 visits, right?
Yeah.
Is he expecting now 400 when you told him it's 380?
Well, no, but.
He's not
now
expecting it at
he's-
400.
He's disappointed, obviously.
Well, hold on. There's two places there's two conversations here. Is he happy when you come in and say it's worth 380? At the moment, before listing, is he happy when you're
No.
sending him the VIP package and it says 380?
No.
He's not happy?
No.
Is he gonna be mad?
No.
Okay, he's not gonna buy it, no matter what, in the beginning, they're like, eh. First of all, do you wanna have that face to face?
Well, it's good to, send it VIP before.
Why do I always tell you to send your papers before?
Because they're mad the night before. They have
Because no
time to
matter
think
what
about
you
it.
say, they're gonna be mad.
Exactly.
No matter what the price is, they always want more. That's human nature. It's been like that for hundreds and thousands of years.
Mhm.
Okay? My stuff is worth more than the neighbors. It's been like that for generations. Okay? We can't change that fact. So you're already sitting with him and he's already seeing the 380. Now, I'm not saying to you, make magic and bring him 400. I'm not even saying bring 385. Do you know how much a buyer is willing to pay in reality? Are you deciding what the price of the property is?
No.
No. When I give a suggested price, I always say to my clients, that's 8 chances out of 10, you're gonna get that price. Well, what do you mean? Well, there's another 1 out of 8, you're gonna get a little bit more. 1 out of 8, 10, it's gonna be a little bit less. Well, what do you mean? Well, look, you got a beautiful product, but I'm not a buyer. I need to find a buyer that likes what you have, willing to make you an offer, for you to accept it, for the bank to finance it. Because even if he likes your price and you like your price, the bank may not like your price. Can he buy? Can he buy? The answer is no. A big mistake in commercial transaction, the biggest mistake is when an agent doesn't understand commercial and says to me, my client is pre-qualified. You know what I ask him? I say, pre-qualified for what? To buy the property. How much is the down payment? Well, his bank told him 25%. I said, correct. But do you know 25% of what?
Exactly.
Well, what do you mean? Well, we're asking $1 million. Do you know what the financing will be? No. Well, they're gonna give him 75% or 65% or 95% or whatever percent of the economic value. And do you know what the economic value on that building is? No. It's 750,000. So they'll finance him 700,000. Does your client have the other 300? No. Your client is not qualified. So, you see, that's where expectations and customer service come in place. Okay? So in your case, if I answer your question, can you guarantee him 380?
No.
Can you even guarantee him any number?
No.
Can he list with you and tomorrow morning in that neighborhood? Sorry, this thing went off.
Yeah, you have to put it in.
Need to keep it close.
The remote,
Remote?
yeah, the remote, every time you
What
click
remote?
it activates it.
No, that's not, this is off. The screen was off. The screen now. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't guarantee a price, but listen to this. He gets an offer and the offer is 370. And the buyer is not willing to budge a penny. He's not willing. Can you get him 380?
No,
No. But can you still make him happy with the 370? Let me ask you something. Is it only about price?
no, it's not only about.
Price is important.
Yeah, price is
I always said to you,
Yeah.
price is the most important factor. But what's your job? Your job is to try to find everything positive in that offer. Oh, by the way, they're not giving you what they need, but look, they're putting a big cash down, or they're doing an inspection very quickly, or they're willing to accept whatever delays you need, or it'll give you enough time to find another property. You need to find the positive in your offer. If the buyer's not willing to pay more than 370, and you believe it's worth, he may challenge you and say, hey, but you said it's worth 380. Well, sir, that's, as I said, I don't know what the buyer's gonna want to pay. But Mr. Seller, now we have a 370,000. Your options are to accept it, refuse it, or counter it. The other agent already told me they're not gonna budge a penny. We could still try. Now, let me ask you, if you do try at 375, and they do accept it, is that not 5,000 more than what he expected to receive? Even if it's not 380? That's where your job comes in. Your job is not to give him what he wants, because if we want to give them what they want 500,000 for this property. Your job is to give him more than what they expect. Give him a better service than what they expect. Provide him a better pricing, better customer service, better after-sales service, whatever it is that you do, okay? So you have to have these elements in place, okay? So, voilà, okay. Okay, so one of the things that I always do is when you list a property, by the way, when you list a property, Svetlana, when you list a property, I'm gonna sell that phone. Can you give me your phone? I heard Apple's coming up with this new thing.
Yeah.
I don't have an Apple. Okay, so what is expectations? Well, when you list a property, you need to tell the client what you're going to do for them. I'll give you an example. You guys have the 18 point of action, right?
Mhm.
Do you say that to the client?
Yes.
Do you show it to him?
Yeah.
Do you inform him when every one of these points are done? So what I do is when I list a property every month, every week, I go back to the client and I say, Mr. Client, I have done A, B, C, and D. This week I'm gonna do E, G, F, whatever, H, okay? And next week I'm gonna do so on and so forth. So that's when you have expectations. If you don't tell him what you're doing, does he think you're providing a good service? No. You're losing trust. When you lose trust,
You promise and you don't do.
and you don't do. So you say to him, listen, we're gonna take the pictures this week, it's gonna be online next week. Next week comes, it's not online, is he happy?
Oof, no.
You tell him it's gonna be online Monday, but you call him Saturday, 2 days before, and you say, by the way, I was able to put it online on Saturday instead of Monday, is that good? Yeah, that's where expectation comes in. But if you don't put a day for a thing to be done, then he doesn't have any expectations. Follow me? So that's where it's important for you to define. One of the ways to define it is to say, Mr. Seller, when I'm gonna list your property, these are the 18 elements I'm gonna do for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? Are we good with that? Yeah. Is there anything here that you would like me to do? Oh, like what? I don't know, I'm asking you, because I think I've had it pretty covered up. Okay, no, it's good. Is there anywhere that says open house? In my 18 point of action?
No.
Mike's 18 point of action, it doesn't say open house.
No.
Now, if you guys decide to do it, is that a bonus
Sure.
for him? By the way, Mr. Seller, as you saw in my 18 point of actions, there's no open house, but I will do one for you next Sunday after, whatever you guys
Once a
decide.
month. You can show the motivation, that you are working from him, not
Absolutely.
from the pocket, you know?
Absolutely, and it is that. Guys, if you don't work for him, you're never gonna get paid. Like, just, this needs to be clear in your mind. You're never gonna get paid if the house doesn't sell, and it will only sell if you make the effort to sell it. If you don't make the effort to sell it, it's not gonna sell, okay? Unless you list it at a really, really low price, and then you get tons of offers, okay? So put your 18 point of actions, put them in place, just so you can follow up and be able to do what you need to do, okay? So, you guys know about the one-to-one QA that we're doing now, right? So we've implemented it about 3 weeks ago, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago. every one of your sales or purchases. Yeah, okay, good. So we're gonna be sending out a survey on your behalf. Okay, that survey is basically going to ask the client what they think of your service. And normally it goes on your Google reviews if it's above 3 stars. 3 stars and below, it'll come to me. Okay, yeah. Okay, I wanna see what the hell's going on. You're not supposed to have 3 stars or below. That means you were crappy as an agent. Okay, so you've done something wrong and it's not good. It's not good for you, it's not good for the company, it's not good for your colleagues. It's not good for the industry, okay? So you could do the same. You could every other week or every third week, send them a quick survey. You guys could do that very easily. Google and different tools, they do that, you know, quick survey. Hey, how did you find my service so far? What can I improve? When you're doing your calls every week, aren't you supposed to call the client once a week?
Yes.
When you have a listing, right? When you do give them a call, you could ask, hey, by the way, is there anything that I could have done better? Is there anything that I could do to improve your service? Well, you know what? No, we're good. Yeah, well, if you were to name one thing that I could change. See, I always say that to people, and try it, okay? So generally, are people gonna say they're happy? Unless you screwed up royally, they're not gonna tell you that they're not happy.
If there is some, actions already, like, some visits booked, or whatever, they will be more happier, yeah?
Correct.
Yeah.
How do you book visits?
You marketing the property actively,
You price it right.
Thank you.
after pricing.
Well,
you know?
No, price it.
let me
is
say
one.
something. You want the best marketing in the universe?
Price it right.
Price. That's the best marketing you can do. So if you don't want to go, okay, I'll tell you something. I hated those calls.
Well,
Those calls that I tell you to make once a week, I hated them for 2 reasons. When I was listing at high volume, I would have 40, 50 listings on average. That means 40, 50 calls. It's long. So put it 5 minutes times 50, 250 minutes. It's a lot. So you used to take hours on Fridays. So I hated them. Yeah, but I had to do them. Are they fun calls? In the beginning, they're okay. If you're not selling, what happens? They become heavy calls. But you still have to make it. That's your job, right? That's what you promised. That's what you do. So how did I got away with this? Not having to make those bad calls.
Sell it
Told you
first
that.
week.
I told you that. What did I work on in 2017, 16, 17 the most? For 6 months. I told you, last week I was here on 2 weeks ago, I was training on it. Pricing, objections. Because I learned one thing, if I price it right immediately, in any market, I'm gonna sell it. Or I'm gonna have visits, at least. But if I don't price it right, my sign is there,
Marketing doesn't help.
marketing is not gonna help. Okay, so pricing is what's going to make it happen, but still you have to have a clear plan of action. So when you're doing these calls, after the call or during the call, one of the questions should be, Mr. Seller, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with my service? 10, great. If I want to bring it to 11, what should I do? I don't care what they give me as an number. If I want to bring it up, what should I do? And you got to be clear on it. Oh, well, you've been doing great, John. I'm happy with it. Okay, give me one thing that I can improve. Well, yeah, if you could call me instead of Friday night, because then I'm going bowling, if you could call me like before that, that would help. There you go. You'll be my next, my first call instead of my last call. Okay? So it's one small thing. Sometimes that makes a big difference. And if you apply it, now they happen. Follow me? Sometimes it's not a big thing. It's just a small thing that you need to improve. So having a survey with your clients would definitely help you. Okay? So obviously now we do that for you. I wrote it here that you consider doing a survey after closing, which we do for you. You don't even need to do it. So once you say, I think it's by default. I'll get Sabrina later to tell you. We do it on your behalf pretty fast. I
You
think
have
it's
to give your email when you do your data sheet.
That's what you gotta do, so you
You
gotta
have
give
to- you
the
have to
name,
submit
the name
in
and
your
the
data
email of
sheet,
that-
if the email is in there,
yeah,
it
automatic.
automatically
There
sends
you go.
it to,
So it's really
the
cool.
survey.
Cool, and then you'll know, exactly what
No,
they
the
think of
survey
it.
goes to them, yeah.
But
It
we
goes,
don't.
no, it goes to RLP.
Okay, so what is the highest level of customer service? The highest, for a client, for a seller,
Selling the property.
sell the damn thing. That's your
Big
best,
one,
that's your best customer service. So in order to be able to do that, what do you need to work on? To be able to sell it fast, what do you need to be? Where do you need to be? Let's say you list a property. You have, let's say you're in a neighborhood where there's 100 properties for sale.
you need to be the first one,
And how
First
do you,
choice.
okay, how do you become the first choice?
you do your market analysis, and
Okay,
then you price it correctly.
so let me ask you something. I'm a buyer. There's only 10 of us in all this neighborhood, and there's 100 properties.
Okay, top
What
choice.
is the first thing they look at? What does the buyer look at the first? Honestly, price. Price. Guys, it's always price. I don't care what people will tell you, oh, it's gotta look good in the picture. All that is gravy. It's price. I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Ville Saint Laurent bungalow. The first thing I'm gonna look at is price. And if I go online, the first thing I'm gonna do with price is I'm gonna make it from cheaper to most expensive. Will I be looking in the middle of the pack?
No.
Which ones will I ask my agent to look for? First of all, I'm gonna look, I was asking 399, no, 430, 500, oh, that one's nice, 525, yeah, right, that's what I'm gonna do. Think about it, how do you shop for anything? That's how you do it. Not saying you're gonna buy the cheapest one, remember that, I didn't say that. But I said the first thing you'll do is you'll go by price. And then you'll look at the pictures, and then you'll look at, the location, or it could be a great price, shitty location, I'm not gonna go, right? But imagine if it was great price, great location, great property.
Sold multiple.
What are the odds that you're gonna sell it at the lowest bid? It's gonna go over. There's gonna be multiple offers. Are there still multiple offers now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of my last 3 transactions.
Now, let me share something with you guys that you don't know, okay?
Any offers, yeah.
So, 2007, right before the financial crisis, it was the highest interest rate the country has seen since the 90s, okay? The rate was about what it is now, 5, 5.25, 5.5. I remember I signed for 5.5, 5 years, okay? But let me tell you something. What you guys don't know is in 2007, when you were buying a house with a rate of 5.5, you were qualified for 5.5. Now, to buy a property at 5.5, you gotta be qualified at 7.5. And you know when that was the last time we had that? In the 90s,
Long time ago.
when houses were a quarter of the price they are now. And we have multiple offers. Why do we still have multiple offers? Now, let me ask you guys something. There's about 55,000 listings for sale right now. I'm gonna share 2 numbers with you. Do you know what it was at the lowest during COVID? You know what it became the
What
lowest
the inventory was?
inventory in Quebec?
Maybe 8,000.
34,000. So it's 55,000. But let me share something else with you. Do you know what it was in 2013?
No.
105,000. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were a smaller province, less houses,
Yes.
and we had 105,000 in inventory. That's called a buyer's market. Right now, you're in a seller's market. You're still in a seller's market. So, but let me ask you, are there expireds? You're saying you were getting multiple offers, you got 3, I got 2.
Yeah, I did, my Plex at 1.3 has 3 offers on it.
Okay,
I have them all lined up one after the other.
okay, good. So you're still having multiple offers.
And the 2 condos that I just.
In
also had
2013, there was no such thing as
Last week,
multiple offers.
3
It didn't even
offers,
exist,
almost.
okay? That's a buyer's market. market, so you're in a seller's market. So my question to you is, how come we have expireds?
Because agents can't tell the truth to their clients.
Unwilling or unable?
Unable or unwilling, no, I wouldn't say unable, I take that back because I have a lot of respect for my colleagues, but I think we're just not willing. And this is where it's time for us to unfortunately do the hard work to really tell the seller, hey, you know what? We're not at that market anymore. Property's worth X amount of dollars, where it was X amount of dollars a year ago or 2 years ago.
Are they happy to hear that?
No.
It's still at that market, like 6, even more like months ago.
Let me give you some hints, okay?
We went
Sellers
through this
are
in
always
2010.
about,
In 2010, remember when we had the
Yeah.
big crash?
Yeah.
In the US?
Yeah.
And we had to adjust again.
yeah, I mean, I used to list properties for 12 months, adjust them 5 times and never sell it, okay?
I'm going,
That was the market, that's a buyer's market, so, everything
We're
else
there.
after that was just gravy. So, do you still have to be the first or the second best priced property? Is it easy to have that kind of conversation when somebody else is telling them it's worth more? In reality, is it worth more? Can you be outbidded by another agent? Can another agent come and say, you're saying it's worth 380, can another agent come and say it's worth 450? Yeah. Would your client generally want to hear what you have to say or not? When you're saying 380?
look, if you could show them in black and white, because we know that telling is not selling, so you don't want to tell them.
Okay, so what do you do?
You want to show them the comparables
Mhm.
and let them make the decision on why.
Can
Why
they be
is it
blind
wrong?
about it?
They can, but we need to ask the question.
Hold on. No, hold on. You're on something here. Can they be blind about the price? And they say, yeah, I know, this is my neighbor, buy.
Yes, because they don't have the comparables. What they're looking at is what's listed presently. They have access to that, and believe me, they look.
Oh, for sure they do.
They look.
And your job is to show them what's for sale.
This
and
is
what's
not
sold.
reality. This
We
is like
understand.
fantasy, right? So we want to go to
Correct.
reality. The only way
Correct.
you can show them reality is by either you can put them in the car and show them what's sold at that price, and that's gonna be like a total shock for them. And that is really like showing, look, that property over there on that street sold for this amount of money. So why would yours be $30,000 more? Please help me understand. That's the way I look at it.
Okay, Bianca, I like that. But there's something more to that. You're missing one major aspect of this,
Which would be, sure,
motivation.
Oh, for sure.
You have to know the
The
motivation. You
motivation
have to
is
understand
there.
their motivation. Okay, if you don't understand their motivation, they're gonna list at whatever price they're at. And if you don't show them that they will not be able to move from point A to point B at that price, then they're gonna go with a higher price.
No, yeah. you can't.
They're gonna go with a higher price, lower commission. That's what they're gonna go with. Okay,
I
so
could
it's
you
up.
close the door, this, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, cause she's,
Okay, so. Okay, so let me ask you guys something. Do you ask your clients what, at the end of a transaction, have any of you ever asked their clients what they did not like about your service? No. Because they normally say, "Oh, okay, thank you, it was really nice." Did you ever ask them what they do not like? You should. And they're gonna say, I'm telling you, they're gonna say, no, it was great. I had a lot of fun. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'm happy you got your house. Can you point at one thing that you didn't like? Well, no, it was really good. Okay, my boss is gonna fire me if you don't tell me one thing that you didn't like.
Oh,
Really? Yeah. Okay, you know what? I did not like the fact that when we went to visit that property, you were late. Maybe they visited 12 properties with you. One, you were late. What does that tell you? You'll never be late again. Okay? Your job is to understand what they don't like. Even if it was a very smooth transaction, very good transaction, service was great, price was awesome, you sold their property, bought them a property, there is something they did not like. You need to figure out what that thing is and correct the problem for the future. That will bring up your customer service. So who here knows Richard Branson? You guys know him? So Richard Branson, they asked him once, because he has, his Virgin companies, great customer service. They asked him a question. They said, how do you train your staff to be such amazing customer service staff? You know what his answer was? I don't train my agents to be great customer service staff. What I do is I hire great customer service people. They love what they do as customer service, then we hire them. They don't love it, we don't hire them. Okay? So what it is with you is the same. You guys gotta understand, the better your customer service, the higher your customer service, the more chances you have that that person, that seller, that buyer is gonna work with you again, or better, refer you to their friends or family. Okay? So if you don't create that opportunity to improve, if you don't ask the question to understand what they dislike, you'll never be able to improve. And even if they tell you it was great, I'm telling you, try that. They're gonna, some have really had an amazing service. But if they would have to point out to at least one thing, trust me, they all will find something. It cannot be perfect. Your service cannot be perfect. Mine is not, yours is not, nobody's is. But if it could be just a little bit better for the next guy, that's where you are. Now, another thing that I'm going to teach you to do is take that experience and systemize it. So for example, if let's say for example, they say to you, so what I didn't, let's say you hear it, well, you call me Friday afternoons to give me the updates. That really bothered me because I go get the kids and whatever. If you hear it more than once, guess what? What do you need to change? Maybe the day, maybe the time that you call
Maybe
your
to ask them,
clients.
when it's you.
Or maybe
Yeah.
say, hey, which day is better? Tuesdays or Fridays to call you and give you an update? Oh my gosh, not Tuesdays. Tuesdays I have this and that. Friday is a better time. Okay, so now what you did is you systemized the problem. So now I'm going to tell you guys something. You got to work by block. Time management is working by block. I can't do one call on Tuesday, the other one on Sunday, the other one on Friday. You won't do it. Okay, you got to work by block. So you say customer service calls, and you have 10 of them Friday afternoon. Okay, so you could systemize it in, like you said. Do you prefer, Mr. Seller? Do you prefer Tuesday calls or Friday calls? Or do you prefer Friday at 12 or Friday in the afternoon? So then you can maybe put them, so let's say you don't want to change Friday. You could still change the time. You could say, oh, John here, I'm going to put him at 12, and Mary, I'm going to put her at 3. Follow me? Yeah. So you still give him an option. Do you prefer that I call you early on Friday or late on Friday? Well, what do you mean? Well, I work normally from 1 to 3 p.m. That's when I call my clients. Would you rather be at 1 or at 2? Oh, it doesn't matter. Great. Anyway. John, blue, he needs to be there. He needs to be early. Blue, red, whatever you want to put. Color coded. What I'm trying to say is now you're systemizing a future problem. Okay? So he didn't like the fact that you came in late. Was there a specific reason, or you always arrive always on time? If you arrive always on time, a little bit of traffic, what will happen? You'll be late. Will your clients like it? Sitting in front of the house, 5-10 minutes waiting for you. Even if it's 5 minutes. They don't like it. Then what do you need to do? Well, I need to plan ahead. So if I have visits at 1, I'm not going to leave at 1:45. I'll leave 12:30. I'll be fine. Even if I'm there before them, it's much better for you to be there before them than after them. I'd rather not be there at the same time. I'd rather be there in advance. They come and see I'm already there. Can you still do other work while you're in the car waiting for them? Yeah. We all have a little computer in our hand. We can do tons of stuff. Okay, so be there, create the opportunity to improve on your customer service is very, very important. Okay, so now some of you have staff, some don't. If you have staff, get your staff to do customer service calls. Okay, so whatever customer service calls you have in your mind, make them do it. Okay, so when you build a system, when you're doing more than 40, 50 transactions a year, you should have your own staff. And if you do, then make sure that you give them customer service work. Now let me tell you guys something. There's two types of people. There's the ones that don't delegate anything, and there's the ones that delegate everything. Doesn't matter which one you are. You need to learn how to delegate. The ones that delegate everything are not necessarily wrong, they're not necessarily right. Because at the end of the day, who's responsible? You're still responsible. So it's fine to delegate as long as there's a control mechanism. So if you have your customer service done by your staff, which by the way, that was my case, I stopped calling, I hated those calls. They were long, they were annoying to me, I hated them. So I started listing at better prices and eliminated the problem. But my staff was calling them, and my staff was always asking. So what is the one thing I should tell Fadi to improve? Oh no, he's doing great. He doesn't want, I don't want to be fired. Yeah, I need to give him something. That's what they would say. And guess what? I would always get something. The cool thing is, my staff that was doing the customer service, her job was to go through all the crappy things that our clients didn't like and find a system to improve all of them. So get them to work with you, get them to be a good team with you, okay? It doesn't have to be always your, and by the way, your clients they care about you, but not that much. No, I'm telling you, if you are clear in the beginning who's doing what, there's no issues. If you tell them, listen, I'm here now today, I'm signing the contract with you. Once I'm done, I'm going back to the office, and Mary is gonna be doing all the listing, and she'll be doing this, and she'll be sending them, that's her email. And John, he will be doing all these open houses, it's fine. Your client doesn't care that you're there. You know who cares that you're there? You, your ego. I'm telling you. What does the seller want from you? What does he really ultimately want, or a buyer? What does he ultimately want from you?
Get the transaction done.
That's it. That's what they want. Now, the better the service, the better referrals. The more organized you are as a company, as a person, the better your success rate. But at the end of the day, what do they really, really, really want? Sell the damn thing. That's it. So when you're clear on that, Mr. Seller, by the way, I'm not going to be taking the pictures. It's going to be my teammate there. It's a photographer. They're going to take the measurements. They're going to do this, that. Whatever you put in that, that's fine. Like, tell them when you are going to be there. And if you have staff, as I said, ask your staff to ask for feedback. Okay? If you're not going to do it, let your staff at least do it. Okay? Oh, nice. Yeah. So let me ask you guys something. Let's go back to the watch. Okay? Why didn't I like my experience? Let's go. I go into the shop, going for a watch, didn't like the experience. Why didn't I like the experience? Okay, so you have your own criteria of service. Now, you go into a place, nobody knows you, and you're greeted, and hey, how are you? Come on in, have a good vibe. Versus you go in and nobody talks to you. Which one do you feel less important? The second one, right? So let me tell you guys something. Treat your clients the way you want to be treated. You go in at a listing presentation, you're like this. What are the odds that they're gonna like you? What do you go? Now, could you have had problems right before? I'll tell you guys something, okay? At one point I did something and it cost me almost $60,000 in like half an hour. Big amount, okay? I lost $60,000 out of the stupidity that I did. Right there, right then. And I was coming to do a training right after. Doing a great training, as usual. Why? Because the minute I walked through that door, that conversation was done. Same thing with you. Don't bring your problems to your clients. They don't care. They shouldn't care. Okay? Your problems are yours. Guess what? They have their own problems. And you're the person who's supposed to solve their problems. So if you have problems, you're never going to be able to solve their problems. So don't bring that with you. And the best way to enhance your customer service is really by being able to put yourself in their shoes, in their expectations, okay? So always do what, treat them the way you'd like to be treated, okay? So, how do you create residual income? Ongoing income?
Passive income, you mean?
No, ongoing income.
Get your clients to return to you for their next.
That's one. Now, let me ask you guys something. You guys know what the average person in Quebec, what's the time on average that a person moves?
5 years.
It's actually a little bit more than that. It's about 8 years.
Oh, they didn't change.
Yeah, that's already. So think about it. Let me ask you a question. What is the rule of thumb with your database? How many referrals how many transactions are you supposed to do from your database? 10%. 10%. So in reality, what is 10%? 20 and 10. So if they move once every 10 years, you're supposed to be doing one, let's say you have 10 clients on average, you're supposed to make a transaction with each one of them every 10 years. So that makes a return on investment of 10.
Yeah.
Can they have kids? Could their kids buy a property?
Yes.
Could they have parents? Could their parents sell their property? Why aren't you making more than 10%?
Because we're not calling.
Because you're not providing the right service. Customer service is not only during the transaction, but it's after the transaction too. Are you calling? Yes, Selena. Come. Yeah, come. Are you calling those clients? And if you are, what are you saying to them? See, a great customer service would be at a point where when you are having that conversation, when you have that 2 or 3 minute attention from your client, give them everything you got. Be outstanding. Don't be regular. Don't say, oh, interest rate, they're stable these days. And no. Have energy. Hey, you know what's going on in the market right now? Interest rates are stable at last. Jeez, it was about time. And you know what that means? That means this, that for your property. That means that there's still buyers. When are you planning on selling? Well, whatever. Okay, when are you planning on investing? Are you planning on investing? Have those conversations. If you don't have clear-cut conversation about your customer service after selling, they won't refer you anymore. If you forget them, they'll forget you. Okay? Make sense? Good. You guys have any questions for me? Okay. If you don't, let me get Sabina. Sabina? Yeah. Okay. So I was telling them about the one-to-one QA. I know you had something else to talk
I do. I have 2 other little things
about.
to
Okay,
talk
so I'll
about.
let you talk.
Perfect. So in the 121 QA, what part did you get to? This is the broker.
I told them that, yeah, the brokers.
Perfect. So everybody is clear. You're going to be, hi, everybody online. You're going to be receiving, or you should have already received this morning, I should say, an email from Kareem with links to a broker survey. Please take the time. It's only going to take you 3 minutes to complete. This will help us understand what your needs are and how we can improve our service to you and how up-level your service to your clients as well. So please take those 3 minutes. And yes, we will be hounding you regularly. So we have no ability to see who's done it, who's not done it. So you will all get badgered for 1 week. Bear with us, it's for a good cause. That was the one. Number 2, I just wanted to let everybody know that we are currently working on getting a photographer to come into the office. For anybody who wanted to retake some of their pictures, this is a professional photographer. She herself is a broker, and she would be coming on site. We would open up a schedule, and depending on demand, we would either do 1 day or possibly 2 days, given the number of brokers that we are. So if anybody is looking to redo their pictures, it'll be a one-stop shop. It's reasonable, it's gonna be very reasonable, I'm just working out the details, but I'm keeping that in mind, because I know that it can be quite expensive. So we may limit the number of shots to make it more economical, so the price is the point here, and you will get quality images, she's very good at what she does. So you might see her popping around the office tomorrow, and then we're hoping by the end of June, we will have this opportunity. So just keep an eye, and you might see me mention that in the group chat as well, to take a little poll to see who is interested in doing new shots.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank
Have a
you.
great afternoon.
Thank you, guys. My pleasure. Thank you. If you guys need anything, let me know online. You guys need anything? Okay, you're welcome.